So this is going to be the reaction slash breakdown slash analysis of the whatever you want to call it of the NHL Eastern Conference Finals between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers, which saw the Florida Panthers beating the Hurricanes 5 games, 4-1, with the series. And look, I mean, we'll just get right into it. The series kind of went how I expected it to go. I mean, not really. I mean, I expected Florida to win the series. I expected them to win in 6 games. I did not think it would be as dominant as it was. I mean, Florida just absolutely destroyed this Carolina team. First 2 games, the goal total was 10-2. You know, and even in Game 3, it was all Florida. And then Carolina came back in Game 4 to win that 3-0, and then you had Game 5, which was last night, the 28th. It's being recorded on the 29th. But either way, they lost 6-2. And yeah, I mean the series was just 5-3. Sorry, 5-3. The series was just everything I. The series was just everything I ultimately expected it to be. Kinda. It was gonna come down to goaltending. At the end of the day, I think you saw the superior goaltender come out in Bobrovsky for the Panthers. I mean, it's two things, right? It's Florida having a really solid defensive structure. I mean, there were points in the series where Carolina could not get any shots on goal or struggled to even get out of their own neutral zone, right? Like this was just a masterclass of defensive performance from Paul Maurice and the Florida Panthers. And I think when you're able to do that and you still have offensive star power like Sam Reinhart, like Alex Barkov, like Matthew Tkachuk, and even you have your role players like Sam Bennett and like Carter Verhaeghe who can step up and have done it before. They just have that experience that they know what they need to do. And Carolina, like I said in the pre-analysis, they never gotten to this point before, and they were 0-12 when or 0-11 in conference finals when this conference final began, dating back the past couple of years. Now they are I believe it's one. It should be 1-15, which that was great. It's not a great total to have, and you're not going to get success at the franchise if you can't get past this round. But look, I think you got to give Florida credit. They were better. They were the better team, the more physical team. Um, Once Florida got out to a lead, they weren't going to lose it. And even when they were behind, there was never a concern from them that they were ever going to panic or have to struggle. Like this was a really impressive Florida Panther performance compared to how they played against the Maple Leafs 2-3 weeks ago. And I think that's another part of it too. Like you look at Carolina's schedule and who they played. Like I'm not going to downplay the competition here, but Florida had a run through with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then had a run through with the Toronto Maple Leafs, who were arguably the two favorites to go to the Cup. Carolina faced a very injured and very hurt Devils team, and a Capital team that I was never really sold on, but that was pretty solid. So I'm not going to harp on the Capital team too much, but they put out really good performance against that Capital team. So, they definitely earned their right to be here. But I think Florida just are leagues above them right now. And look, I said it too. I never bought into Frederik Andersen. He had to repeat what he did in the first 2 series for Carolina. He just didn't. He's a very iffy goaltender. He's really good and he's really bad. And in this series, he was not great. I think you look at Sergei Bobrovsky, who has been the pillar of consistency. And while he might not be elite as he was in the past, or even considered to be one of the top 5 goaltenders in the league right now, he's still going to go out you and he's going to make the saves he's going to make, and he's going to put out a very solid performance. He's a steady Eddie type of goaltender. That's just who he is. And I think when you're in a series like this, that's what you need. And look, I mean, I think overall, like the most Carolina scored were 3 goals in each of their games. Like they never really got to 4, and Florida just had the offensive output to do better than that, and being able to limit shots on goal and block shots and have a willingness to defend in front of your own net is also a testament to how good Florida is. They do a very solid job of attacking the puck, putting pressure on the puck carrier, forcing them to dump in, and then going to win a board battle. They win every single board battle. Florida does. They're so good when they do that, and they out hustle you. They're physical. They're more physical, and they've earned their right. Paul Maurice has earned his right, and he's coached his team really well. And I think this is what's led to them getting into this is now their third final in 3 years. So this is very much a very well built team that's been added to. That's the big thing. It's been added to. They added Brad Marchand this year. They continue to rotate guys in and out while keeping that same core and that same style of play that has worked for them. And I think overall, like this has just been a masterclass in team building. It's a very solid team. They got Matthew Tkachuk to add that toughness and that strength and that goal scoring at that top level that they needed, while still having guys like Barkov and Ekblad and Reinhart, just keeping Reinhart. And you have your role guys. You have your Sam Bennett. You have your Carter Verhaeghe. And you have Anton Lindell. You have the elite. Their penalty kill is so good. I mean, it was such a big talking point going on was going to be the special teams and how that worked out. And I thought Florida handled it perfectly. Shutting down the Hurricanes. I think they went like 0-for-5 in the last game. Giving them nothing on the power play was a big deal. And at times Carolina kind of relied on their power play, and they just could not get anything going from it. And I think at the end of the day, when you're at this point in the season, in the hockey season, and you're in the crunch time of the playoffs, both teams are really good, right? Like there's no denying that, and there's no like arguing that both teams are really good. So it comes down to the finer margins, and usually the final margins are 3 things. It's your goaltending, which I thought Florida was better in. It's your special teams, which I thought Florida was better in, and it's your coaching, which I thought Florida was better in. You could say experience as well, and if you include that, Florida also has that. They now with the 2 straight finals, now a third. It's an experienced team. They know how to get past this round and further. They've won a cup last year. This is what they do. And so I think overall, Florida just were really impressive, really dominant, and really showed that they've struggled in that Leaf series, but when they got into the right competition and the right game plan, they can dominate any team and for a long period of time. And I think when you look at Carolina, it's interesting because they did have a rough year. They had the whole Rantanen drama with him trading for him not wanting to play because he didn't want to sign. They have to trade him to Dallas because he didn't want to sign with Carolina. So they had that whole drama. It was a good season. Rod Brind'Amour has a good team. They play well. They have a very tactical defensive style. But their Achilles heel has always been their goaltending. And it still has not paid dividends. It did in the first 2 series. Frederik Andersen was really good. But when it mattered, and when it mattered the most against a really and Florida's not a high offensive team. It's a solid offensive team. It's not like the Edmonton Oilers or the Dallas Stars, But when it came to a team like this who can put out goals and have quality shots and have an offensive scheme that could work, he struggled. And he probably had some saves. He probably could have saved the defense, struggled. And I think at the end of the day, that's what made it matter here, and not taking advantage on the power play or the penalty kill. The penalty kill was good, not great. Their power play was not good. And it's not like they were bad. It's like I thought Florida was just better at both aspects, And look, Carolina has a solid group. Sebastian Aho was really good in this series, I felt like. Seth Jarvis was solid. It's the little things that matter in these series. And I think it really did come down to goaltending. And just Frederik Andersen just could not keep the puck out of his net sometimes. And they could not climb out of a 2-goal, 3-goal hole. And at the end of the day, they had a 2-0 lead in Game 5 and they let it slip away at home. They were 0 for 3 at home. You cannot go 0 for 3 at home in the playoffs. Like you're not going to win that way, you know. And look, like it's not so much that Carolina played bad. I just think Florida played better. But I think if you're Carolina, this felt like probably their best chance with this current group because they've gone years now where it's like they have a great regular season, they look ready for the playoffs, they go in healthy, and then come playoff time, they crap on themselves. You know, first round exit, second round exit, now in the conference final where they didn't have a win in a conference final. And it's like they can't get to that next level, that next stage of competition. They just can't do it. So I think in that regard, I definitely don't think like Carolina needs a rebuild. I definitely don't think like they need. I think the biggest problem was trading for Rantanen and not getting, that quality of player. And you definitely see how they lost that kind of star power and how much they needed that really secondary scoring that Rantanen could have provided. I think you go to the offseason and what sucks is now you invested so many resources into Rantanen, you have to double down on it. So it may be, a different team come next year. Maybe they have to try to recoup what they lost and retool and go at it again. Because there's still good young players on this team as well. So they definitely could do that with Kokoniemi and people like that. So there's definitely like room to grow. But I definitely think like that window, man, is getting so much smaller, so much faster that maybe it could be another year or two that they really give it a go. And if they don't come up, and like I think the pressure now is on Rob Brendamore. I don't think he should be fired. I think he's a perfect coach for that team, and he's got him. The players love him. They play a good style of hockey, a correct style of hockey, in my opinion. And I just feel like at the end of the day, like it would be a bad move to fire him. But definitely the pressure is now on. Like he needs to have a great start to the season. He needs to have an impressive playoff performance again, or a complete collapse in terms of injuries and stuff like that. That could really like kind of save his job because I think now it's go time. It's do or die for them with this current group. So we'll see. We'll see what they do in the offseason. But I think it just in this series overall, like this was I said Panthers in 6. I stand by that. I did stand by that. I definitely think like this was just a masterclass of coaching and styles clashing and just the superior team coming out on top and just overall doing the finer things right, like goaltending and special teams that push them over the top. And I think Florida just are built for it. They're built to win cups. They have the team for it. They have the mentality for it. They have the players for it. They have the coach for it. They mentally they're in a space where like we're going to win a cup, and no one can deny them of that. So, congratulations to them. They'll be going to another final. They'll either be facing the Edmonton Oilers or Dallas Stars, which I'll do the preview for that when that gets finished. Could be today, could be tomorrow. We don't know. But overall, fun. It was a fun-ish series, and it was overall a really good time. And whatever happens next, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, all that goodness, and we'll make sure to see you guys next time.